70 years ago, countless bodies floated daily in the waters bordering China. These were people attempting to swim across to Hong Kong, desperate souls chasing the dream of a better life. Back in mainland China, people couldn't even afford 2 meals a day. Education was practically treated as a crime. To attend school, you needed special government permission. People had lost even their last shred of hope. Communism was slowly hollowing China out from the inside. And then, something happened. Something that transformed China into the world's second largest economy in just 40 years. Napoleon once said, "China is a sleeping giant. Let her sleep, for when she wakes, she will shake the world." Think about this for a moment. A country whose GDP was once lower than Tanzania or Kenya now sits at $18 trillion. Today, Chinese cities like Shanghai, Chongqing, and Shenzhen rival and in some ways surpass the greatest cities in America and Europe. Analysts predict that by 2035, China's economy could overtake the United States entirely. But how? How did China get rich so fast, and why didn't it happen in other countries, including our own? The answer isn't magic. It was vision, planning, and an unbreakable dream. War, devastation, and collapse. In 1937, Japan invaded China. In a single day, Japanese forces committed atrocities against hundreds of thousands of Chinese women. Millions of Chinese people died in that conflict alone. Then came World War II. All combined, China lost approximately 15 million people. When Japan was defeated, China plunged immediately into civil war. Back-to-back wars devastated China's economy completely. The Communists ultimately won the Civil War. The People's Republic of China was born in 1949. But the hope that ordinary people had placed in communist leadership quickly turned into a nightmare. Mao Zedong, chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, introduced policies that would cost China dearly, ultimately responsible for the deaths of nearly 50 million people. Ancient China was once the world's richest nation. Here's what makes this story even more remarkable. China wasn't always poor. In fact, for much of human history, China was the wealthiest civilization on Earth. At its peak, China produced 25% of global GDP, more than all of Europe and America combined. Chinese silk was legendary worldwide. The Silk Road connected China commercially to civilizations across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. The Chinese invented the compass, gunpowder, paper, and the printing press, technologies that literally changed the trajectory of human civilization. Militarily, China was formidable. The Great Wall of China still stands as proof. In agriculture and medicine, China pioneered acupuncture and herbal treatments still used globally today. So what went wrong? How did one of humanity's greatest civilizations fall so far? The Century of Humiliation. The year was 1773. The Qing dynasty ruled China. The British East India Company, already controlling vast parts of India, wanted a piece of China too. Chinese rulers initially rejected British trade requests outright. Eventually, they allowed limited commerce under strict terms. The British imported tea from China, and in exchange, they brought opium. Opium grown in India was flooded into Chinese markets. Within a few years, China's young population became addicted. Hard-working, industrious Chinese people abandoned their work and spent their days in a narcotic haze. Chinese rulers banned opium sales. The British ignored the ban and kept smuggling it in. Eventually, Chinese officials burned down British opium warehouses. That act of defiance triggered the First Opium War in 1839. 4 years of fighting ended with a British victory.
Hong Kong was seized. China lost territories, ports, and businesses to foreign control. This was the beginning of what Chinese historians call the Century of Humiliation, 100 years of exploitation, invasion, and national shame. Meanwhile, as the Industrial Revolution transformed the West, China did the opposite. It closed its economy to the outside world, afraid of further exploitation. For nearly 100 years, China faced aggression from Russia, Japan, and the West, further draining its economic strength.
Mao's catastrophic policies. By 1949, despite everything, China had a genuine opportunity to rebuild, but Mao Zedong's leadership would squander it. Mao redistributed land from large landowners to small farmers, but the government retained all ownership rights. Bureaucrats decided what to plant, when to plant, and how much to grow. Farmers were required to hand over their entire harvest to the government in exchange for a fixed payment. There was no incentive, no ownership, no freedom. Production stagnated. Then came one of history's most bizarre policy failures, the Four Pests Campaign. Mao ordered the extermination of sparrows, rats, mosquitoes, and flies across all of China. Mao was treated like a god. Whatever he said, people did, right or wrong. Billions of sparrows were killed. The ecological consequence was catastrophic. Without sparrows to eat them, locusts multiplied and devoured China's crops. Between 1958 and 1961, a man-made famine killed approximately 40 million people. In industry, Mao pushed steel production, ordering ordinary citizens to build backyard furnaces, but without skill or technology, the steel produced was worthless. By 1960, China's economic growth rate had plunged to -4%. Unemployment, poverty, and hunger reached extreme levels. Then came the Cultural Revolution of 1966. Schools and universities were shut down entirely. Educated urban citizens were forcibly relocated to rural areas to work the fields. Religious institutions were destroyed. Anyone who questioned Mao was branded a traitor and subjected to physical and psychological abuse. By the 1970s, 80% of China's population depended on subsistence farming. There were virtually no motor vehicles on the roads. Owning a bicycle was considered a sign of wealth. People had no dreams, no vision, no hope. Hong Kong, the promised land across the water. Just across the border sat Hong Kong, under British control and thriving. To desperate mainland Chinese people, Hong Kong was a paradise. Wages were 100 times higher. People ate proper meals. Freedom existed. In the Shenzhen region alone, approximately 700,000 people attempted to swim across to Hong Kong seeking a better life. Only about 140,000 made it. Some were turned back, most drowned in those dark waters. That stretch of coastline is still called the Cove of Sorrows. Nobody, not a single analyst, not a single economist, believed China could ever recover from this. The man who changed everything. While all of this was happening, a 5'2" man was working in the fields of a remote Chinese village. Nobody knew yet that this man would transform China into one of the most powerful economies in human history. His name was Deng Xiaoping. Deng had once held a senior position in the Communist Party, but he had dared to criticize Mao, and for that he was expelled from the party and exiled to a rural village to work as a farmer. For 3 years he worked in obscurity. Everything changed in 1976 when Mao Zedong died. Deng's supporters brought him back to Beijing. The nation faced one central question: how do we fix China's economy? Deng's philosophy was the polar opposite of Mao's.
Mao demanded total ideological conformity. Deng was pragmatic. He famously said, "It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white as long as it catches mice." In other words, stop arguing about ideology. Do what works.
Reopening the schools. In 1977, Deng called a major meeting in Beijing on the future of education. Hardline communist leaders resisted reopening schools. Deng pushed through anyway. In December 1977, China held national examinations for the first time in over a decade. Nearly 5.7 million people, ages 18 to 38, sat for the exam. Only 5% passed, but those who did represented the beginning of China's intellectual revival. Looking west and learning. Deng assembled a 30-person delegation and sent them to Europe, Denmark, Germany, France, and Switzerland. For years, these officials had been told that capitalism oppressed workers and destroyed nations. What they found in Europe left them speechless. Capitalist countries were 100 times more advanced than China in technology, science, and standard of living. Deng himself traveled to Japan and Singapore. In Japan, he rode a bullet train traveling at 210 kilometers per hour, while China's fastest trains barely reached 60. Japanese robotics, electronics, and infrastructure left him stunned. He filmed ordinary life in Japan and Singapore, regular workers with televisions and refrigerators in their homes, modern highways, advanced factories. Back in China, he showed those videos to ordinary citizens. The reaction was shock, and then hope. Deng understood something crucial. After decades of catastrophic leadership, China's people had stopped dreaming. To rebuild China, he first had to rebuild the will of its people. Opening the economy to the world. In December 1978, Deng convened 200 Communist Party members for a historic meeting. For the first time, he proposed opening China's economy to the outside world. Since the Opium Wars, China had shut its doors to global trade. Deng proposed reversing that entirely. Deng also understood something strategically important. To truly modernize China, he needed America. Remarkably, until 1978, the United States did not even officially recognize the People's Republic of China as a legitimate nation. On January 1, 1979, America finally extended that recognition. That same year, Deng visited the United States and met with President Jimmy Carter. Communist China and capitalist America, historic ideological enemies, shook hands for the first time. Shenzhen, the miracle city. Returning from America, Deng traveled to southern China to a region near Hong Kong called Guangdong. Before communist rule, this area had been a thriving industrial hub. Mao had shut it all down. Deng met with a local communist leader named Xi Jinping, the father of China's current president, Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping told Deng that excessive government control was strangling economic activity. Deng gave him a free hand. No government funding, find your own investment. In the nearby city of Shenzhen, a local enterprise spotted an opportunity. Hong Kong was booming with construction and needed massive quantities of steel. But steel production in Hong Kong was expensive, high labor costs and infrastructure expenses. Shenzhen, just across the water, had cheap labor and proximity. A local Chinese company brought investment capital from Hong Kong, dismantled old Chinese ships, melted them down, and shipped steel back to Hong Kong. This simple operation became China's very first foreign investment deal. From this modest beginning, China established special economic zones, regions where foreign companies could build factories, hire cheap Chinese labor, and receive significant tax exemptions. The model worked spectacularly. In the Wenzhou region of Zedong province, where government control was relatively light,
Over 103,000 private businesses formed in just a few years. Everything from noodle shops to China's first airline company launched from this single city. In 1979, the Chinese government began issuing official certificates to small businesses, legitimizing private enterprise for the first time. Collective decision-making replaced one-man rule. One critical political reform Deng introduced was collective responsibility. Under Mao, a single leader at the top made every major decision, and no one could question it, right or wrong. Deng changed this. Major decisions now required group discussion, and whoever championed a policy had to accept accountability for its outcomes. This simple shift in governance structure had profound consequences for how China was managed going forward. Welcoming the world's greatest companies. By the 1990s, Japanese giants like Sony and Panasonic and South Korean powerhouses like LG and Samsung were selling televisions, refrigerators, and radios across the globe. But they lacked space and workforce capacity in their home countries. China invited them in. The formula was simple: cheap labor plus special economic zones plus tax advantages equals irresistible opportunity. What happened next was strategically brilliant. As foreign companies built plants in China with Chinese workers, China quietly absorbed their proprietary technology. Chinese manufacturers learned the methods, replicated the products, and began selling their own versions domestically and globally. Even workers set up small manufacturing operations in their own homes. Today, every major luxury and technology brand in the world, Tesla, BMW, Apple, Gucci, Rolls-Royce, has components manufactured somewhere in China. From a sewing needle to advanced weapons systems, China manufactures it all. This is why China is called the world's factory. Investing billions in science and technology. China doesn't just manufacture, it innovates. Every year, China spends billions in research, science, and technology. In 2023 alone, China spent $500 billion on research and development. Chinese scientists today rival and in some fields surpass their American counterparts. China possesses advanced technology in hypersonic missiles, hydrogen weapons, drone systems, and robotics. Recently, the Chinese government made artificial intelligence education mandatory for children starting at age 6. The Education Revolution. 9 years of compulsory free basic education was established for every Chinese child. Since then, China increased education investment every single year. In 2023, China spent 6.13% of its total GDP on education. In 1982, China's literacy rate stood at 65%. By 2025, the literacy rate among people aged 15 to 24 has reached 100%. Chinese students who studied abroad began returning home, bringing Western knowledge, entrepreneurial ambition, and scientific expertise back to China. They built businesses, they advanced technology, they helped transform a nation. Deng had once said, "Even if only 1 in 10 students returns from abroad, that's still a net gain for China." He was right. Lifting 800 million people out of poverty. According to a World Bank report, between 1981 and 2012, China lifted 800 million people out of poverty, the single greatest poverty reduction achievement in human history. By 2024, China's poverty rate stood at just 1%. Consider what China produces and controls today. China alone generates 25% of the world's total electricity. China leads the world in hydroelectric power production. China produces 50% of the world's coal. China controls 48% of the global smartphone industry. From 1990 to 2020, in just 30 years, China built infrastructure that the United States built in the past 100 years. The bullet train, a dream fulfilled. In 1978, when Deng Xiaoping rode Japan's bullet train, traveling at 210 kilometers per hour, when China's fastest train barely managed 60 kilometers, he made a private promise to himself. 30 years later, in 2008, China launched its first high-speed rail line, with trains running at 350 kilometers per hour. Within just 10 years of that launch, China had developed its own bullet train technology entirely from scratch. By 2025, China operates a 50,000-kilometer high-speed rail network, the largest in the world by an enormous margin.
What America can learn from China's story? This isn't a story about blind admiration for China's political system. China has serious issues: authoritarian governance, human rights concerns, surveillance of its citizens that deserve honest scrutiny and criticism. But China's economic transformation holds powerful lessons that transcend politics. First, visionary leadership matters enormously. One person, Deng Xiaoping, with the right ideas at the right moment, changed the trajectory of 1.4 billion people. Second, education is the foundation of everything. China didn't modernize by luck. It deliberately, systematically invested in human capital over decades. Third, pragmatism beats ideology. Deng didn't ask whether an idea was capitalist or communist. He asked, does it work? Fourth, opening up creates opportunity. China's decision to engage with global markets after a century of isolation unleashed economic energy that no one anticipated. And fifth, hope is a policy tool. Before Deng fixed the economy, he first showed his people what was possible. He made them believe again. That belief preceded every economic miracle that followed. China's story is one of the most extraordinary national transformations in human history. From a country where bodies floated in the ocean as people tried to escape, to a global superpower that now shapes the world economy. The sleeping giant that Napoleon warned about? It woke up. Dear viewers, if you liked the video, be sure to like and share the video. Then tell us in the comment box what topic you would like to see the video on. You can express your preferences by commenting in the comment box. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the channel to watch more such documentary and historical videos. Stay well.